Hi, hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel, my little corner of YouTube where I talk to you guys about how knitting has woven into my life. My name is Kristen, and I'm a knitter and military spouse now living in Denver, Colorado with my family. I am sitting here in our apartment. It is very snowy outside. We got a couple more inches of snow last night, so I'm looking over there, and Ebony is finding something in a tree. I don't know if it's a squirrel or she's just watching the snowfall, and Sherlock is enjoying sitting in the sun. But we are here today to talk to you guys about my knitting. This is episode 30 of my podcast where I just share with you guys what I've finished and what knitting projects I'm working on. I feel very calm and mellow this morning, so I hope you kind of enjoy that vibe, and hopefully I can kind of keep that mentality today. If you'd like to find me other places, I am DoSo Knits on basically all the platforms on YouTube, Ravelry, and Instagram. And finally, show notes are linked down below where I link to both my project pages and individual projects if they are available for purchase outside of Ravelry. I have all that linked below. Before we dive into the knitting, I just wanted to say a little admin at the beginning. I am planning to do a giveaway for this episode, with it being both episode 30. I feel like that's a nice milestone for the podcast. And we've hit 700 subscribers here on YouTube. So I will be doing a giveaway in this episode, and I'll give more information about that at the end. So make sure you stick around for that, because I'm very excited to spread some love with you guys. But we can go ahead and dive into what I've been knitting on and what I've finished. We might as well start with what I'm wearing. This is my Chalet Days sweater, which I test knit for Samantha Gurin. And guys, I love this sweater. I did take some B-roll showing some close-ups of the sweater, so I will talk about some of the details. This is a worsted weight sweater. I knit it with 6 skeins of Nerd String Worsted, which is 100% Superwash merino wool. I used a little less than 5 skeins of the main color, which is Rebel Rebel. I used about 425-ish grams total. For the contrast color, this is the colorway Pearl. I think it looks really, really nice with the Rebel Rebel, and I didn't even use a whole skein of 100 grams for this, so I think it's a very cost-effective, yarn-effective sweater. Some modifications that I made. I did knit down a needle size because that's just how I knit. I am a loose knitter overall, so went down a needle size, which is fine. I also shortened the body length. I kind of shared on Instagram my stories. I knit to 10 inches of the body, and then I blocked the sweater. I also did knit the sleeves before I knit the body, which for everyone that gave me tips on that, thank you so much. I really did enjoy knitting the sleeves first, if only because I was feeling a little less inspired to work on the body with it being just stockinette in the round. And I mean, sleeves are too, but has decreases. And then it was really nice because it felt like by the time I was finished with the sleeves and I had to focus so much on the sleeves with the decreases and everything, the body then just like flew off the needles. But back to the blocking story. I knit the sleeves to the length recommended in the pattern, and then I knit the body to 1 inch less than what was recommended in the pattern. And then I put the sleeves and the body on waste yarn. I actually used my Barber knitting cords. I blocked it, laid it out to dry, and then I tried it on. At that point, the 14.5 inches for the sleeve was basically this length. So I had not done the ribbing, so I ripped the ribbing back and then re-knit the ribbing. So my sleeve overall is 14.5 inches pre-blocking. I think it's a bit longer post-blocking. And then the same thing for the body. The body length, it just hit me in a really nice, flattering spot. So it's like slightly cropped. It'll look nice with jeans. So I did the same thing where I ripped back the 1.5 inches for the ribbing I ripped it back and then I re-knit the ribbing at the bottom. And I am so pleased with how this sweater looks. I was so worried about knitting a superwash sweater, and I think it just looks so good. I love the color work. It's so graphic, but it just looks so nice. So I highly recommend this pattern. It is a round yoke knitted with worsted weight yarn, but I think it is very flattering and it's a lot of fun. This sweater will be coming out from Samantha next Wednesday. So Wednesday, February the 23rd is when this sweater will be released. Make sure to look on Instagram. I'm sure all of the Sess Knitters will be posting our fun sweaters, and Samantha will as well. So make sure to check that out. I highly recommend this sweater, and I want to see more of these in the world. They look so good. Before we move on from the sweater, I did also add an extra inch to the neckline because I just wanted it a bit closer to my neck overall, and I think it looks really, really nice. And I really just want to wear this sweater like all the time, but I need to get some finished object photos done, which means I need to commit Shane to do it. So that'll probably be a this weekend thing, which means I can't wear this until after my photos because I'm a toddler and I will probably get something on it and ruin it, or, you know, I'll just get a stain or something. So I just like put my things in purgatory until we get finished object photos of them. And then we will probably wear this a lot. I think this is the best fitting sweater I have knit to date. It's just like the perfect amount of positive ease, I think. And I love it so much. So much. And Samantha writes gorgeous patterns. I could literally gush about this sweater for an entire podcast episode, but I should move on to some other finished objects because I do have a bit more. I also finished my Everyday Slouchy beanie, which is by Tristan of Dragon Horde Yarns. I knit this with Neighborhood Fiber Company in Penn North, which is a 100% merino singles. And then I held it together with La Bien Amie's Kumo, which is a Surrey blend. I love this hat. It's so yellow and bright and fun, and probably having a really hard time on the camera. So overall, I followed the pattern. I used the needle sizes recommended in the pattern, which for me being a loose knitter might have been a slight mistake. Only because I think I needed to knit the smaller size. If I did it again, I would knit the adult small instead of this size, which was the adult medium. I also think there are so many threads on this hat. I also think 6 inches might be too slouchy for my personal taste, but that's just me. I'll show it on. This is what it looks like. It's so warm. I love it so much in how warm it is. It really is really, really nice and really bright. And the other night I was having to clear my car off from snow, and it was still snowing, and like it got really wet and snowy, but like my head stayed really warm and nothing seeped through, which is amazing. Yeah, I just don't know if this much slouch is enough slouch that I can pull off. Maybe it's too much slouch for me. I don't know if I'm this slouchy of a person. So if I did it again, I'd probably do the adult small and a little less distance in the slouchiness. We do this little purl bump. And that's where you're supposed to do the fold because the brim is tacked down on the inside, so you get this nice double brim. I'd probably omit the purl bump because when I wear this, the bump, I think it's supposed to be like very on the bottom, but for me, the bump kind of like comes to the front instead of being like at the bottom where the crease is. because I think it's really hard to get the exact same length on both sides of your brim, which might have been like maybe I needed to count rounds instead of measuring inches. So yeah, I'd probably just omit that next time because I don't know if it really adds a whole lot, and it kind of bugs me that it just like isn't on the edge, which is just my personal brand of obsessiveness. But I do really love this hat. I love it so much. I'm glad I've shown it here now so I can wear it with abandon without having to worry about it getting ruined or dirty. What is nice though with the 6 inches is that I can even fold the brim up another time. And then you have like even more warmth, and it's a little less slouchy. So this is more so by slouch level, I think, which is like not a lot. A little bit more. But yeah, I love my little yellow hat. I think it's so cute. It is so warm, and the Kumo with the suri, oh, it's such a good yarn. I don't even want to take it off, but I should. Okay, we're gonna take it off. But yes, love this hat. It's so cute. I have one more finished object to share with you guys. So I bought the Advent 24 stripe skein from the Cozy Knitter and started knitting the 24 striped Advent socks in December. And then I kind of stalled out because I didn't know what to do about the length of the sock. But I have finally come to a decision, and I finished my socks. So I knit these a little differently than normal. I knit them toe up and on 9-inch circulars, which is pretty normal. I used 2mm needles for those, and then 56 stitches for myself. I did do toe up because I just didn't know how long I wanted the leg to be. So doing toe up just allowed me to knit the foot to the length I needed, do my heel, and then be able to continue until I was ready to finish. So I used Andrea Mowry's cast on for toe up socks, which was very helpful, and then knit the leg to the length that I needed. So it was about 9.5 stripes, I believe. And then I did a German short row heel, and I did the mini heel flap adjustment. And that is from Nina Phillips, also linked on my project page. I love this heel. It's probably my favorite. It's the one I do the most often. I find it quick, and I find them fitting my foot really well. And I feel like with self-striping, it looks really nice. I just split this color in half when I started the heel. I did half of it, and then did the heel, and then did the other half of the leg there. And then what I decided was to continue the stripes through the cuff here because I really like this length. This is probably the perfect tall length for me, but I only used 22 of the 24 stripes. So using it in the cuff allowed me to get more stripe colors out, and I also did a little purl bump before starting the cuff, which I think is a really fun touch. The fun thing about how many stripes I did is I did 22, and 22 is my birthday. So it works out. I think it's still a good number, even if I didn't get the last 2 colors in there. And then I used the Jenny Surprisingly Stretchy Bind Off. And again, I used Andrea Mowry's tutorial on how she does that. She does it from the wrong side, which then gives you the nice V on the outside, which I think is kind of fun. Ooh, almost dropped that on the ground. So yeah, these are done. I think they are so much fun. They look so good on my feet. And I just think, I don't know, I love striped socks, and the amount of fun colors in here is amazing. So yeah, I think these are great and highly recommend this. I will probably be doing another Advent striped skein this year because now that I know kind of where I'll stop, I won't have that decision like stop. That's what stopped me, is I couldn't make a decision on how many stripes I wanted to do, so I just put these aside. But keeping up with it every day is really not that hard. It's like 10 minutes a day to do this. So I think if I wanted to actually get all the stripe colors in next year, I just need to do not a contrast toe. I should just do a toe in the striped colors. I think I could still do the contrast heel, and then I have to do the colors on the cuff, which I think is also fine. I just really like when people have like their whites on all three, but my foot is just too small. So I feel like I'm gonna have to do stripes here and stripes here if I want to use all of the 24 stripes. Those are all the new finished objects I have to share with you guys today. I did share a few on my last stash in and stash out video that I had finished before that video, but before this podcast. So I had finished my January Does It Vista Dye Work socks and a Coffee Talk toque. But since I showed those there, I figured I would hold off on showing them again and just show you the new things I'd finished. But now we can move on to my works in progress. So my first work in progress is living in my Stolen Minutes bag. This is my Christmas Cats version, and this is where my Advent socks were. But after I finished those socks, I just couldn't put this bag away, so I'm still using it because I just love how grumpy all these cats are. I think they're so funny. So in here is my Does It Vista Dye Work socks for February. Since I am doing her year-long knit-along, you just have to use a skein of yarn from Does It Vista Dye Works and knit a pair of socks, or other accessories that use the yarn, such as hats, wrist warmers, fingerless gloves, things like that. So this month I'm opting to do 2 tall socks, which is a minimum of 3 inches for the leg. So I am doing this color this month. This is called Zombody Build a Snowman. So based off of Frozen and the song Build a Snowman. Do you want to build a snowman? And I just thought this would be a really fun color for January since we have so much snow right now. I have like the evergreen outside and it gets so much snow and I love looking at it covered in snow. So I figured I would use this color this month, and I cast it on yesterday. And this is how far I am right now. So I did a 2x2 cuff, and then I am doing the String of Lights pattern by Sock Witchery, and I've only done like 3 or 4 rounds, so it's just starting to appear, the pattern. I wanted another ribbed type sock, but a little more interest than just a 2x2 rib. And if you've been around for a while, you might be wondering, Kristen, why are you magic looping? I almost always knit my socks on 9-inch circulars, but magic loop was just calling to me this month. I had the yarn and my 9-inch circular in this bag, and I was sitting watching TV ready to start and cast on, and I even got up, walked across the room, got the 2.25 millimeter magic loops, ChiaoGoo needles that I had, and then cast on. I don't know. Something about it, I just wanted to do magic loop. I think with the little bit of purling in here, I was just like, I just want the extra needle space, and for a day, I'm very proud. This is for how much I've done. So I think this is a 6 stripe repeat. I'm on another stripe, and then I think my purple will restart. So not a ton of progress, but some, and the little stitch marker on here is from Susan of Does It Vista Dye Works. It's part of the prizes that came for doing the knit along last year. Yeah. I'm really excited to do this pattern from Lindsay. I have not done it yet. I've been meaning to do it so many times, and since it's only a 2-round repeat, it is very easy to memorize, and I am just good to go now. Definitely not movie theater knitting because I would have to pay attention and count too much, but perfect for sitting at home or multitasking. Kind of, you can still pick up and put it down just as long as you can see your stitches. Okay, So this is now on the go with me. It's good to take on the go. Also, it's not movie theater knitting because I don't magic loop in the movie theaters as well as I can on 9-inch circulars. This might be a shorter podcast because I don't have as many works in progress to show as normal because I've finished so many projects. Like, I feel like I've cleared off a bunch of needles, so it's really nice to just have like a few things to focus on because I have a little less time than I used to, so I feel like having less works in progress is allowing me to make some more progress on them, and I feel a little less overwhelmed. So I'm slowly like getting through finishing all the projects from 2021 and 2022, and I think I only have one left now, minus scrappy projects, which is really exciting. Okay, on to the next work in progress. Sorry for that little tangent. This is living in a Join the Stitches bag. I love this bag. It's got the little zipper here on the back. So in here is living my Hotel Metropol shawl, which is a Hygge Canyon membership circle exclusive pattern. We are doing a knit and read along for the book A Gentleman in Moscow. I just finished the audiobook this weekend. I really enjoyed it. And so working on this shawl is a lot of fun with the memories of that book. It was a really great audiobook and something I could definitely multitask to, and it just gave me lots of good feels. So this is the Hotel Metropol shawl. It uses 2 sock sets. So 200 gram skeins of yarn plus 2 20-gram minis. So I'm using my Dyed by Dell's Mysterious Animals Club, and I'm using 2 of the months. So I'll show you where I'm at, and then I'll give you more information on the yarn. I'm a little tangled up. I always get tangled up in this pattern. So this is where I'm at. Okay, sorry, still tangled up. This is where I'm at so far. It's not super big, but what's really fun about this pattern is it alternates sections of lace, stockinette, and seed stitch. So here is the little charm that came with the Mysterious Fox, which is this first color. And this is on a bronze sparkle base. I believe it is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. Sorry, 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% stellina in the bronze. So this was the first color of the club. And I'm only using 2 of the colors that I think go really well together. I am finishing up this lace section, and then there are some welts which you use the minis for, and stripes. I love how this is looking. I really think the pops of color are really fun. And the mauvey color, I think, is like this mauvey pinky is really gorgeous. So this is how much of the skein I have left. And the color that is paired with this is Cheryl's Coal Gray. This is the mini that was paired with this. So that's that. And then for the second half of the shawl, we switch to the second sock set. And so for that, I'm using the Mysterious Crow, which has a silver sparkle in it versus the bronze sparkle. And the color that is with this is Vincent's Highland Coup, which is this one. So all 4 will kind of play together, but I feel like I don't have enough hands to show this. That's what I feel like. But these are all the colors together. And I feel like the mini of this gray and the gray, second one, will help coordinate. And I feel like these also coordinate. So I think it'll be a really nice, cohesive shawl. I'm so excited to finish this. The goal is to finish by the end of the month. I have no idea if I'm going to hit that deadline. It'd be a lot of knitting and a lot of focused knitting, but I don't have any other big projects on the needles. I have my sock and I have this. And then I have my shawl that I carried over that I'm only working on every now and again because this is my priority shawl. So I guess it's doable. The only thing that makes it hard for me to pick up is when I get to these lace sections, just because they take so much more focus. When I'm doing the stockinette or the stitch stitch, it's a little easier to pick up and put down and to bring with me because I can read that type of knitting. But the lace definitely takes more, I have to have the chart with me and read it and focus and count. But it's really nice to just have those sections alternating and flowing, and I cannot wait for this finished shawl because it's so pretty, and it's really cool to use 2 sock sets and get those out of your stash. I applied Kim for writing a pattern like that because I feel like a lot of us who knit socks get sock sets and they're like, well, I could knit more socks, but it's really fun to just be like, oh, I'm gonna knit a shawl. Yeah. Finally, since I finished this sweater, I am working on starting my next sweater. So my plan is to make a Stratified from the worsted book from Amy, of Lobby and Me. And so I started my swatch last night. This is where it is. So the pattern is written for a US 8. So I went ahead and cast on with the US 7. I was still not knitting tight enough. So now I've moved down to a US 6. And I think that's going to be the right needle size for my gauge in this yarn. I am using 5 different colors of this yarn, Baroa, which is 100% Portuguese wool. So this yarn has a really nice hand to it. It definitely, I feel like the reason I have to go down so much is there is not a lot of glide in this yarn, so I'm knitting it a bit looser than I normally would, because like as I pull this yarn off, you can see it kind of like, it still like grabs onto itself. Like you can see, like it really gets stuck. I don't know if you can see that, but it does get stuck. It kind of holds onto itself. So it doesn't glide at all. So I'm knitting a bit looser, which is why I think I just have to go down an extra needle size. I do think the stitch definition is really nice. And since it's a striped sweater with different textures, I think it'll be really, really fun. Again, I'm thinking of knitting the 48-inch bust size, which is the same size I knit this. And I really like how this one fits, so I think that's just going to be my go-to sweater size. I think it's just perfect as long as I don't want it oversized. It's like the perfect, I can wear it over a long sleeve shirt, but still not feel like it's like a hoodie or sweatshirt type fit. It's a bit more of like a typical sweater fit. So not very far into this. I literally started swatching last night. I'll probably do a few more rounds with the 6s just to make sure that my gauge is consistent, but I am hitting gauge with the 6. So I'll probably end up casting this on this weekend when I have a little more time and brain space to be able to focus, sit down, and cast on. But I'm very excited to knit this sweater. I bought yarn for this in December and just haven't knit it yet, and now I'll be able to. In my little notes here, I have goals that I want to talk about. I don't know what a lot of my goals are. I know I want to try and finish both of my works in progress that I currently have by the end of February. I don't know if I will, but that is the goal. Definitely the socks have to be done. I would really like the shawl to be done as well. I would also like to start and cast on my Stratified, and I'd also like to swatch for the sea glass sweater. So I think those are my goals and kind of what I'm aspiring to make upcoming. Life-wise, we've kind of just really got a nice little natural flow going. I'd like it to stop snowing and melting because I really would like to go on a hike. But with all the snow, we've just been going on some longer walks nearby, which has been really nice. And yes, I did do a little bit of sewing this past weekend. I was sewing a sample, which a blog post will be going up in the near future about what I sewed. I sewed the wool fork dress from the Embody book, and I'm really thrilled with how it turned out. So a blog post about that should be going up on Fancy Tiger Crafts website in the near future, and I'll try to remember to tell you guys if you're more interested in reading about that. I've also been reading or listening to audiobooks a lot more. I finished the Hotel Metropol, A Gentleman in Moscow book, which I had been listening to kind of off and on for about a month, but really glad I finished that. I'm a little bummed with how it ended just because I just wanted to know more. I wasn't ready to let the characters go yet, I think. So that was the only bummer of that. And then I picked up A Court of Thorns and Roses. I know so many people have talked about this book, and I was like, I'm not going to read it because there was so much hype, but I get why there's so much hype. I started it this past weekend, and I am 75% through this book. I've done 12 hours. I only have 3 hours left and 57 minutes of book 1. I ended up checking it out because there was no wait list for it on my library app, and I don't think there was a wait list for any of the books. So I need to go ahead and check out the second one because I've just been really enjoying this. Like this weekend, I took Sherlock for a walk, and I was like, we're just gonna go on a really long walk, and I put my earbuds in, and we just went out and walked for about an hour while I listened to that book. I brought some stockinette knitting with me. I didn't do a bunch, but it was just really nice, and I've just really enjoyed picking it up. I'm finding that I'm sitting and knitting and listening to that instead of what I normally do is I normally am watching something on the television, like YouTube, podcast, or something on Netflix. But this book has sucked me in. And then the other book I'm reading the hard copy of it. I'm reading 2 different books. I'm reading The Appeal, which is a really interesting book because the whole book is told via emails, text messages, like flyers, if there's any events happening. So that has been really interesting. It really sucks you in because there's no like big chapters. So I feel like I can just like really read and get sucked into that book. And I am very interested in seeing how far it goes and what's going to happen. Finally, the last book I've been picking up and reading is this, which is This Long Thread by Jen Hewitt. And so this is a woman of color on craft, community, and connection. So Jen Hewitt interviewed a bunch of BIPOC makers, and this is like the summarization, organized all the responses. There's essays and just answers to questions like, why did you start crafting? What has it been like for you in the community? And I'm not very far into it. Just very, very little. But already I've found it very, very interesting. So like the section I've read so far is how or why did you learn your craft? And I went over like the demographics, this little chart where they say like, does anyone in your family practice this craft too? And most people come from families who craft. Not most people have that experience a lot. Some people come from a background where they don't have a family that crafts. And so just reading about this and learning different point of views and perspectives of what it's been like in the craft community, I am enjoying and excited to learn more. So it's just something I'm trying to pick up and read a little bit every day because it's really interesting. It's so interesting so far. So highly recommend this book if you can get your hands on it. I bet this would be a really fun audiobook too, just because it's a lot of interview questions. Yeah. So now we can go over the giveaway really quick. I want to thank you guys so much. It means so much to me that I have people who watch and comment, and I just feel like I sit here and I just talk about knitting, and I just really appreciate that you guys like listening. So I wanted to give away a row one of the months that came. I just have so many minis, so I just would really like to give this on to one of you guys. So in here you have the stitch marker, we have the information about the yarn dyer, and then 10 gram minis from Candy Skein is the yarn dyer. They are so cute. There's so many cute fun colors in here. Like I said, I just have so many minis, and I want to say thank you to you guys. So if you would like to enter in for the minis, just make sure you're subscribed and leave a comment down below saying, you can say what you would make with the minis or what you've been working on. Nothing too complicated, and I will pull a random winner in the next podcast episode, and I will announce it there. So just make sure you leave a comment before the next episode comes up, and you could win this lovely package of yarn. Yeah, I just want to say thank you to you guys. It really means so much that we're at 700 people and 30 episodes in. I've just really enjoyed this time, and I really appreciate all of you. So I just wanted to say thank you, and it really does mean so much. So with that, that is basically everything I have. Again, thank you guys so much. I will see you again on the next episode. So for today, thank you so much for clicking. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your love. Put a little bit of love in every stitch of your knitting, and I'll see you again very soon.